Welcome to another episode of the Creatress of Freedom podcast. Hello, babe. How are you? Oh my gosh, I'm so happy that you're here with me and connecting with me. Oh, if you could see this video, my dress keeps falling down off my shoulders and I've nearly got a boob popping out. Anyway, we're going to try our best to keep our clothes on today. Oh, welcome. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to be here with you and having a beautiful conversation today around sisterhood wounds, around women feeling triggered. Oh, I can't wait to delve into it. But if you are new here, hello. I am Annie, and I am so honored that you have chosen today to tune in and, deepen in on this topic because this is a really important topic that we are going to go through today. And if you're an OG, oh my God, welcome back, Queen. I love having you here. It's so beautiful. I really appreciate the fact that you keep coming back time after time to hear the wisdom and then also go and share this message with other beautiful people in your community as well. So let's delve straight into today's topic, and that is around sisterhood and feeling triggered by other women. I want to share with you some stories today just around my own journey of feeling triggered with certain women, and it's really important, that we do start healing these wounds if you're not already on this path, which I'm probably fairly confident to say that if you are listening to this podcast, then you 100% are already on that path. So thank you for doing this work, because collectively, we need each other. We need each other more than we ever have. And it's so important for us to realize that and realize that the responsibility comes down to each of us and not the responsibility up to someone else. So I'm so happy that you're here, and I'm so happy that you're tuning into this episode, because this is something that's really dear to my heart, this topic. And I think, even just recently, depending on when you came into my space, but recently I just did a huge trip to America, and connected with all of these beautiful women that I had already known, but then also a whole heap of new women too. And I just being in community with sisters is so important for us to grow and heal together. So let's get into what I want to talk to you about today. So when it comes to feeling triggered by women, this is something that I see a lot in my space, especially in the hair and beauty industry, but just in women in general. And I think, it's understandable, because we are carrying years and years and years of generational trauma, right? We're not just carrying our stuff and what's happened for us, but we're carrying years of it. You think back to ancient times, when women were calling themselves witches. They were burned at the stake, but they were also like dobbing in on each other so that they could be saved. And so, it really created this whole theme that we couldn't trust women. And I think that we're all still rewriting this history, right? We're all still going through this journey. And I know even myself, like, I'm still rewriting this, and I've done a lot of healing around it, but it still shows up in different ways. But we can actually learn a lot from the women that are triggering us. And so something that does often come up is feeling triggered by somebody else's, it's usually success, is what I'm going to say. It's feeling triggered by the way someone else is carrying themselves, the confidence that person has, maybe what that person's wearing, maybe what that person's driving, maybe the amount of holidays that person takes, maybe it is the amount of money that they show based on screenshots of their bank accounts, like whatever it is, right? And we can often feel very, very triggered by it. And as a result, this usually happens on a subconscious level. We don't necessarily know we're doing this, but usually what happens is when we're feeling triggered, we want to bring down that person, right? Because it's much easier to bring down that person and bag them out and bitch about them behind their back than it is for us to go inward and for us to look at the deeper stuff that's going on for us, it's much easier to blame than it is to take responsibility. And I think that's just the human conditioning, like I think there's nothing wrong with you. We all go through this process, but I think that's just the way that we are designed as humans, right? And so this is something that I see a lot. And it's also something that I have also experienced, and I still experience it to this day. Like my last two really big investments that I made into my mentor, the two different mentors, they both triggered the fuck out of me majorly, right? And so what most people would do in that situation is they would avoid. They'd be like, abort, 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 and they would get out, and they would be like, no fucking way am I going to like go and be mentored by someone that is triggering the fuck out of me. But no, not me. That would have been a past version of me, because I wouldn't have wanted to lean into that shadow, right? But because of the amount of work that I have done and the importance that I know when we lean into those shadows and how we can transmute a lot of that into love, and it's actually a big part of our growth, because I understand that now, I lean into it, even though it's really uncomfortable, but I still lean into it. And so these last two mentors, especially one of the women, I think I invested, I don't even know. I think it was maybe like over 100,000 in a 12-month period with this mentor that was triggering me. And this mentor was triggering me because of the way that she was living her life. She was constantly promoting that she was only doing 5 hours worth of work, but was making millions. And I was like, how the fuck? Like, how does that even happen? How does one do that? Seriously. She also was into a lot of, at that stage, she's kind of evolved out of this and into other things now, but she was also into a lot of like sacred sexuality and sacred rage and, all of these things that were just like absolutely not up my alley at all. And, I held a lot of shame around a lot of those things because of my childhood and my background that I had. And then when it comes to the business side of things, like the things that she was teaching from a business aspect was the complete opposite to what my previous mentor was teaching me, that I had invested over like 3 years, $300,000, right? And so all of a sudden I'm like majorly triggered by, okay, so I've just spent $300,000 with this other mentor who's taught me all of these like masculine structures and strategies. And now you're telling me that I can do it this way that feels so much nicer on my nervous system, so much nicer on me as a woman as well, and really learn how to tap into the feminine energetics of business. And what the fuck, like this is crazy. And so I was majorly feeling a little bit conflicted, but was also very triggered. She was constantly going on holidays. She was constantly like her life that she shared on social media was less about the work that she was doing and about the life that she was living, right? So she was so embodied in her work. She also had a podcast, she had all these things that I wanted. And I was feeling so triggered by her for a few months. And then I sat with it and I thought, you know what? I can either feel triggered by this woman, or I can look at it and say, oh my God, she's showing me what's possible, right? She's showing me that if she can do it, I can do it, because there's no difference between any of us, right? No difference between any of us human beings on this earth. The only difference between where you are and where someone else is maybe they're a few steps in front of you. Maybe they've got a few different structures or platforms that they work with. Maybe they have a few different things that you have not yet learned, right? I just want to repeat that. A few things that you maybe have not yet learned, because it doesn't mean that you can't be as successful as them. It doesn't mean that you can't have the lifestyle that they have. You can have it all, right? But you might need to learn some things that maybe they know that you don't. And that's the only difference. The other thing that it comes down to is staying power, right? Absolute staying power. And I do want to record an episode around staying power, because it was actually shared at the event that I went to recently in Denver. And, all of the multiple 8-figure business owners that were on stage were all saying like the biggest key to success in building an 8-figure business is the staying power, right? It's the staying when shit gets hard. That's when most people want to bail. That's when most people want to pivot and change things. And, they don't want to keep pushing through and see like what is on the other side of that. Most of them are so close to what they want, but they bail. And so the staying power is really, really key to really also living the big dream life that you want to live. And so I really want to drop this episode in here today because I want you to think about the women that maybe are in your life that you're feeling triggered by, right? And I really invite you to, instead of pulling them down and instead of grabbing your girlfriend and having a bitch with your girlfriend about them, actually sit with that, right? Sit with that and ask yourself, what am I triggered about with this woman? And grab your journal and journal it out. Like, what is it that's triggering you? And then go deeper. Why is this triggering me? Yeah. And then why is this triggering me? So like keep going deeper and deeper. So like whatever the thing is that you write, let's say like, this woman, I'm going to give you an example so that if you do grab your journal out and you start journal prompting on this is kind of the flow of what it would look like. This is how I do a lot of my shadow work. So let's say it starts off with me feeling triggered by somebody. And okay, so I'm really triggered by the amount of work that she shows that she does on social media. It looks like she does nothing, and yet she has this multi-million-dollar business. And so then it would be like, okay, so why am I feeling triggered by that? Okay, well, I'm feeling triggered by that because the belief that I have is that I have to work my ass off in order to have that kind of life. And it seems unrealistic and it doesn't seem like it's true. Why am I feeling triggered by that? Right? So then you just keep asking yourself why at the end of each of your sentences, and you will get to the root of what the actual deep core is, right? And so I could tell you right now, because I know all of my shadows, I could tell you that the very bottom of mine would come down to worthiness. That's what it would come down to, is that I don't feel worthy that I could live that life or create that life, or, I could have a business that sustains like that and still live the life that I dream of living, right? I know worthiness is not only my core wound, but it is majority of our core wounds is we don't feel worthy, right? We don't feel worthy that we're worthy of having the life that somebody else has. We're worthy of having the business that somebody else has. And honestly, like I think that is the biggest shifter that we can all shift from in building big dream lives is as soon as we decide that we are worthy of having what we want, everything can shift, right? But you have to decide that you're worthy. And FYI, you were born inherently worthy, right? It's not something that you have to try and find. It's there. You just have to decide that you're worthy of it. And so really allow yourself to sit with this, because this is the medicine that we get to work through so that collectively we can all rise from it, and collectively we can all heal, and we can all start to trust women more. Because I think this is so common. So many of us do not trust women. And it's usually because we've got a story that we're carrying from previous situations, previous circumstances that maybe have happened. I know my sisterhood wound goes back from like age 9. That's my very first memory that I have of my friends being super fucking nasty. And so, we're carrying on to all of that stuff, but we don't have to feel triggered. We can actually feel inspired. And that's a choice that you get to make. You can stay in victim mentality if you want to and continue to stay triggered by this person, or you can lean into it and say, actually, this person is showing me what is possible. And the reason that I'm XYZing about this person is because they have what I want. And that feels unfair. And so if it feels unfair, then perhaps this is where you get to do that shadow work, and you get to actually do some deeper healing around what that would look like for you to shift out of fear and into love. So I really hope that, this episode has given you an opportunity to really evaluate and assess the women that you do have in your life, and see where maybe there's a little bit of remnants or residue that you can start to work through and heal from, because that woman that's triggering you is your biggest mirror, right? Everyone is a mirror for us in our life. And so if she is triggering you, then this is a great opportunity for you to lean in and heal from that, because it's not her responsibility to dim her light or to stop showing off her life, or it's not her responsibility to stop anything that she's doing. It's your responsibility to actually heal yourself from that, and be inspired by what it is that she's showing you. She's showing you what is possible. And I also had my recent mentor that I've invested in as well. Like, she is just blowing it out of the gate. Like, honestly, like, I have never met anyone in business that is like crushing it like she is right now. She is smashing it. Like, oh my God, she is smashing it. And when I say smashing it, like, she just did like a $2 million week, like nearly a $2 million week. Like, what the fuck? Like, my brain can't even comprehend that kind of money. Like, in a week, like, what the actual? And so again, like, I was feeling majorly triggered by her as well, by not only her financial success, but also the way that she was doing business. She was doing business with just such a fun, carefree attitude, right? Not, I'm going to air quote this, professional at all. She would do a reel and she would like be drinking, and then some of her drink would like spill on her top, and she'd be like, whoops, I just dribbled on my top. Oh, well, I was supposed to go to the supermarket later. Oh, well, I'm still going to go to the supermarket. I don't care that I've got food on my top, right? And it was just this like complete permission slip to just be who you are, and to not try and be someone else in order to get someone else to buy from you, or to get clients to come in, or to get friends to come and be your friends. Like, it was just this most beautiful permission slip, and it just rewired so much of my mind around how we get to do business, right? We get to do business that is fun, that lights us up. We don't have to put this like professional voice on and not swear, and so that people will take me seriously, because if people take me seriously, well, then they're more likely to pay me for my services, which is not true. It's the complete opposite. Like, people are not paying you, people are not coming into your salon, people are not coming into your business because you're not being your authentic self, and people can feel that. So what would it look like for you to just kind of shake that up a little bit, and to just really allow yourself to just be you, and just also give yourself full permission to go all out and share what it is that you want to share, and just stop feeling triggered by women. Like, honestly, like, there's so many other things in this world that we could be stressing about. One of them shouldn't be feeling triggered by a woman. Yeah, we can look at these women that are in our world doing big and amazing things, and we can feel happy for them, and then know that, hey, like, you're doing it. You're doing what I want to do. Reach out to them. How are you doing this? Can you help me? Like, oh my gosh, you're clearly like super successful. You're clearly doing amazing things. Like, I love you. I'm so inspired by you. Can I work with you? You clearly know what you're doing, right? And that's what I do with my mentors. Like, yes, I feel that trigger straight away, but I know that that trigger is me sitting in fear. And when we're sitting in fear, nothing ever good comes from that place. So how can I lean into love? And leaning into love is like, okay, well, how can I shift this? So I sit with it. I work through it first. I ask those questions that I shared with you. And then once those questions are shared, then I jump straight into their DMs and I'm like, how can we work together? Send me the link. Let's do this. Because I know that they're my biggest teachers. They are my biggest lessons that I get to learn. And the more that I lean into those shadows, the more expansive my life is going to be. And so that's your invitation to also go and do the same. If this has landed for you, or you can feel like you have like felt triggered in somebody's life, maybe it's my life, I don't know, maybe it's somebody else's life, maybe you are feeling triggered by somebody, maybe it's a family member that you're feeling triggered by, and you feel like these tools have helped you, like, come and let me know. I would love to hear from you. I love when you guys come and share with me. that something's landed for you or something's hit for you, like that means the world to me. So please come and do that. And if you're interested in, continuing this type of work together, I have a lot of experience in a lot of different areas, whether that's personal development, mindset, whether that is business skills. Head to the show notes and you will see a few different options there for us to be able to deepen in on this type of work as well. Thank you so much for joining. I love you, and I will talk to you real soon.